Hello, good afternoon, we're back. It's Jeanette and Alison. Sleep hygiene, part 3, we think.
Yes.
If you haven't watched the other 2, then try and catch up with them on the YouTube channel. We've just been looking over these last 2 sessions just about sleep, and obviously the big thing we were talking about how our sleep is affected, and particularly during lockdown a lot of people have had problems with sleep, and some of you might have lots of problems with your sleep anyway. So Jeanette and me have been talking about that. So just to recap, I think where we last were when we finished, we were talking about worry and how to leave your worries when you go to bed, and ways and techniques to help that so that you don't stop yourself going to sleep because you're worrying about something. So that's what we were talking about before. So just to start off, I was just going to say we were talking about routine, about our bedtime routine, and how it's really important to try and do the same thing every night. So try to get to bed around the same time. Try and have the same sort of routine that you find that's worked for you. So if you find something that really works, stick with it. Don't keep trying to reinvent the wheel by trying lots and lots of different things, because you might just find that that doesn't help you. So it might be that you have the same sort of, you might find that cup of Horlicks has worked, or that snack. It might be that you go up to bed with some cheese and crackers and a milky
turkey
drink.
sandwich.
Yes, don't forget about the turkey.
That's why you have to watch the
part
last 2.
Part 2 is turkey.
It is.
Yeah, so we need to remember about that. So it might be that you could take a snack upstairs with you. It might be that you something that you're reading, either short stories that don't, I think we talked about last time about being careful what you read. Yeah,
being careful not to trigger your mind into overthinking and thinking about who, if you're reading whodunit,
or a horror story, or something, something that really triggers you, or either that or a really good book that you can't put down. So it might be short stories, or even poetry, or something really different, or a magazine where you're just reading short articles in there. It might just be a good old gossip mag, just a trick, take a break, the story of my 26-ton bunion. Sorry, just like
my 26-ton bunion.
The sort, the magazines I'm talking about that have that they're short stories, but it means you're not reading, getting engrossed in something for chapters and chapters and chapters. And you think, I can't put this book down because it's so good.
And when we're talking about routines, you see, routines are habits.
Yes.
And as human beings, our brain loves habits.
Yes.
So if we stay in the same habit, and we have to kind of be persistent with that, it won't be, well, I've gone to bed at 9 o'clock for 3 days and I haven't slept, so Alison and Jeanette are talking rubbish. It's got to be consistently for a long period of time. So to change a habit, we have to do it 60 times or more.
Right, yeah.
So
that's a lot of times. That's
2
a lot
months,
longer than you
it?
think, really, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
But if we create these really good habits, then that does help us. So thinking about having that bath an hour and a half before bed, getting your magazines ready, getting into that really good habit of, by 10 o'clock I want to be in bed. I'm not saying go to bed at 10 o'clock, I'm just using it as an example. And I've got my magazines next to the bed, I've had my bath, I've even been out for a little walk. I've made sure I've let the dog out or the cat out, whatever it may be, got them back in. Turn off your lights, get yourself nice and settled. So stay in that routine that you're doing every night and try to do it consistently over a period of time, and you will find a difference. You will find a difference.
I mean, there will be things that come along that upset that. We're recording this today on not the hottest day, and last night was a really hot, sticky. Temperatures in the bedrooms were not going very low, and most of us don't have access to air conditioning units. So I think a lot of us, things like that will happen that we have no control over, and that means you might have a bad night's sleep while the weather's hot, and here's hoping it's not lots and lots of nights. This one,
and it's looking at that, isn't it, and saying, well, actually, I've been doing this for 2 weeks, and out of the 2 weeks, I've had 3 bad nights. One was when the weather was really hot, and then another one when the weather was hot, and then another one when I just couldn't sleep. But out of those 2 weeks, if you've had 3 bad nights, you've had 11 good ones.
That's good, yeah.
Yeah.
And often it's looking back, and often, you know, I think we talk about keeping diaries and journaling stuff. It's actually quite useful, and it might be that only when you look back on it that you realise actually things are improving. And I hadn't realised that they're improving, but actually I'm sleeping for a bit longer. Hey, up Jeanette's got an example.
Sleep diary.
Ooh,
yeah. So you can ask for one of these, and I can email it to you if you want to keep a diary for sleep. These are specific ones for sleep. And then you can look back at it and you can say, actually, over that week, I got 4 nights of 6 hours, which is better than what I got before. A lot of people seem to think, I'm not sleeping.
Yeah.
I'm not sleeping. But when we sort of write it down and look at it, you might have actually strung together 6 hours over a 24-hour period, which is, you know, it's what I manage off 6 hours. We talked about this, didn't we? So it's what's, you know, don't think because I haven't slept all night, I haven't had a lot of sleep. If you're sleeping during the day, and we usually say don't sleep in the day because it stops you from sleeping at night. But if you're really struggling with sleep, then I suggest that you do have 2 hours in the day and 4 hours at night, because over 24 hours you'll have had 6 hours sleep. So sometimes doing it that way is better than not having any sleep at all. It's what's best for you. If 2 hours in the afternoon and then 4 hours at night works for you, then that's your habit. So stick with it. Go on. Habits are really important. That's what we were saying now.
Yes.
Going off on a tangent.
Talking about sleep diaries. I know what I was going to say. I was going to say these things, they're good and they're bad. These fitness trackers. Now, mine does do my sleep. Now, you might find it beneficial. You might not, because sometimes too much information is a dangerous thing. So if you're not sleeping well or not sleeping as well as you thought you were, then that may not be helpful. But it can be helpful if you're sleeping more than you think you are, or you're getting longer. And it does track the ups and downs of your sleep, so the wakeful periods and when you're in a deep sleep, and when you sort of the different rhythms of sleep, which
I'm going to talk about.
Tell us a little bit about that.
So we're very good.
We did. I don't know how we did that.
I know. Fantastic. There we go. So, as Alison said, a rhythm of sleep, a sleep cycle. So a sleep cycle is actually 90 minutes, so it's an hour and a half. And we need about 4 sleep cycles over 24 hours to have been rested, as we call it. And in that hour and a half, we go through the 4 levels of sleep. So I'm looking at my notes, that's why I'm sort of not looking directly at you. Stages 1 and 2 are your light stages of sleep, and we can be easily roused from those. Stage 3, we're dropping into a deeper sleep, and sometimes we might feel a bit disorientated if we're coming out of that. And once we've gone into stage 4, which is known as REM, or rapid eye movement sleep, that's the really deep sleep that we need, and then we'll come up out of that back to stage 3, 2 and 1, and then we start again going back down into it. So we do have sleep cycles which last 90 minutes. So that's why sometimes people will wake up at the same time. 1, it's habit, and 2, it's your sleep cycle, because if you always go to bed at 10 o'clock and you're asleep by 10:30, to by 12 o'clock is your first sleep cycle done. And then by 1:30, if my maths are correct, that's your second sleep cycle. So you might wake up then, need the toilet. So off you go to the toilet, you come back, then you get yourself settled. So 2 o'clock till 3:30 is your third sleep cycle. And sometimes people wake up at that. It tends to be around 4 o'clock. A lot of people say, well, I'm awake at 4. That's because of your sleep cycles. So think about that as well. Sleep cycles are really interesting. But we do need to go into all 4 stages of sleep to get something from it. So even if you get 3 hours sleep, you've had 2 cycles. you will have had some restful sleep that you can wake from and actually feel a little bit better from. But if we're only dropping into stages 1, 2 and then going into 3, we're not getting the full cycle then.
Yeah. It's really interesting how sleep works and how obviously over time they've managed to work out that we have these different cycles of sleep, and we all know those times, don't we, when you might wake up and you might go through periods of time when you're getting really vivid dreams. Sometimes that's to do with the period when you're waking up and that you're remembering that. Sometimes it can have other causes, so it could be a medication that you're on that's causing dreams, very vivid dreams, and it's always worth reading if you suddenly start doing that and that's not like you. It's worth reading it. If you've started a new medication, it's worth checking those side effects sheets, because it might have on there that
it does affect your sleep and it causes
or your dreams or whatever. I mean, I always find the most frustrating is when you wake up. This is what I've been doing recently: waking up about 6 in the morning, falling back asleep again, and then waking up with a start when the alarm clock goes off, and having had really vivid dreams. I must have just slipped into the dream stage of my sleep. You've just gone
over, haven't you, into that one?
It is. I find it all quite fascinating.
It is. It's really fascinating,
but frustrating if you can't sleep.
Yes, very
nothing
frustrating.
Worse.
And we all have dreams. Lots of people will say to me, "Oh, I don't dream. I don't have any dreams." But we have hundreds of dreams a night, and dreams only last a few seconds before they change and morph into different other types of dreams. So we will have had hundreds of dreams over a night, but the ones that we remember are usually the ones that we're waking up from, like you said, those vivid dreams. And it's usually the last dream that we have that we remember. So if we woke up with a nightmare, we remember it because we're coming out of that. And it's the same when we're coming out of our sleep cycle, that if we're having a dream, sometimes we remember it when we wake up and then we forget it half an hour later. And dreams are our subconscious mind has taken all the information from the daytime, might have been your worries, your thoughts, lots of different things, and our conscious mind allows it to seep into our subconscious mind, kind of scrambles it all up and makes all these weird and wonderful dreams for us.
That's why you end up somewhere unusual with a work colleague. So it might be that Jeanette may have ended up on top of a mountain somewhere, and you're thinking, how did that happen? But it's just all that mixing up. So when you've got someone someone that you wouldn't expect to be somewhere, so like somewhere very familiar, but you know that person shouldn't be there because that's different part of life. So but that's your mind, isn't it? It's the subconscious mind. Is the deeper mind, and we have no control over our subconscious. We're getting a bit technical now, but we don't have control over our subconscious mind. So when we're doing hypnotherapy or deep relaxation, that's tapping into our subconscious mind, and that's our dream state as well. Whereas with our conscious mind, we have control of it, so we can control what we say, how we behave, what's right, what's wrong. It all comes through our conscious mind. So dreams come from the subconscious. So this is all really interesting. So, and we hope you've found this interesting too. And I think, like we've said, I say this for a lot of the films that I do, that if you've got any questions, this is something you're really struggling with, and you just want a bit more advice or help, and we've stirred some questions in you from watching our talks, then please don't hesitate to contact us here at Pendleside Hospice. We'll try and help you out if we can.
Definitely. Get in touch with us. We want you to get in touch with us.
Yes, we do. Yes.
And ask us questions. And say to us, I can't sleep. I've watched your videos. Can you help me a little bit more? Some one-on-one. That's okay. Alison, myself, we're happy to do that, aren't we?
Happy to help. Yeah.
Okay. Absolutely. So I hope you've enjoyed our 3-part video.
You never know, it might have cured the sleep problem.
Let us know if anything's worked. Let us know.
You might be found that we've caused you to drop off.
But that's okay too.
That's fine. Okay,
so we're going to sign off now. It's been lovely doing these videos for everybody, and have a good night's sleep.
Bye.